All right, chat. So, throughout the course of this stream, I talked about some of those tariffs that Donald Trump has been talking so much about and how they're not as great as Donald Trump has been making them out to be. And it looks like people who voted for Donald Trump are starting to see that already, and he's not even in office yet. But I want to take a look at this post by the CBS News. It says, as Donald Trump readies the return to the Oval Office, U.S. retailers that depend on foreign suppliers are prepared to pass along the cost of his proposed import tariffs to consumers, potentially leading to higher prices for a range of products. This is exactly what I talked about. Some of you guys in chat, let me get some ones in the chat. If you guys remember this, I said this like a month or two ago, that his obsession with tariffs, like, it doesn't work the way he thinks it's going to work. His whole thing is, I want to lower taxes for the working class, and I want to make, foreign importers pay those taxes instead through tariffs. And the reason this doesn't fucking work is because we're already dealing with insane levels of inflation when it comes to like purchasing goods and whatnot. And this is just going to make it worse because yes, you can tariff the fuck out of all these import goods, but who's going to pay those costs in the long run? It's the consumer. Those costs have to go somewhere, and those costs are going to be passed along to consumers, and it's going to end up in your wallet. I said that months ago, and now people are starting to see that that's the case. So let's go ahead and let's dive into this article on CBS. Let's take a look at it. Trump's win could lead companies to push up prices. Here's why. As President-elect Donald Trump readies to return to the Oval Office, U.S. retailers that depend on foreign suppliers are prepared to pass along the cost of his proposed import tariffs to consumers, potentially leading to higher prices for a range of products. Americans stand to lose between 46 billion and 78 billion in spending power each year on products including apparel, toys, furniture, household appliances, footwear, and good travel goods due to the new tariffs, the National Retail Federation stated in findings released Monday. These are things that the average American consumer consumes pretty regularly. And now you're about to pay a hell of a lot more for these things. It's kind of like him saying he was going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. He built the wall, but Mexico didn't pay for it. He didn't even finish building the wall. He put up a little bit of fencing and called it a day. Like, he didn't even succeed at the things that he promised his voter base he was going to do last time. But it's true. You're totally right. Retailers rely heavily on imported products and manufacturing components so that they can offer their customers a variety of products at affordable prices. That's the thing, right? This isn't even like direct imports of goods, okay? This is also going to affect, products that are manufactured here in the States, but they use resources as part of that manufacturing process that are imported goods. So it's going to affect even products that are manufactured here. NRF Vice President of Supply Chain and Customer Policy Jonathan Gold said in a statement, "The tariff is a tax paid by the U.S. importer, not a foreign country or the exporter. This tax ultimately comes out of the consumer's pockets through higher prices." Exactly. Anything that causes the manufacturing process or the distribution of the goods to cost more is going to result in higher prices for the consumer. Every time. For example, a $40 toaster oven would retail for $48 to $52 after the tariffs, while a $50 pair of running shoes would jump to $59 to $64, according to the industry trade group. A $2,000 mattress and box spring would set you back almost over $2,100, says the NRF. During President-elect Trump's first term in office, his administration imposed tariffs of up to 25% on more than $360 billion in products from China. President Joe Biden's White House kept most of those tariffs and added more onto goods, including Chinese electric cars and microchips. Now, Trump has said he plans to impose 60% tax on goods. He wants to do up to 60% tax on goods coming from China. And whether we like to acknowledge it or not, we consume a lot of goods that are either manufactured or just outright sourced from China. That is a lot of fucking money that it's going to cost you for your shiny new iPhone or whatever the fuck it is that you buy. and 10% to 20% levy on all of the $3 trillion in foreign goods the U.S. imports annually. Such sweeping tariffs would reignite inflation, as they would mostly be paid by U.S. consumers. So that's one of the biggest things that was on the minds of voters this past election, is things like inflation. And they wanted to see it go down. It's going to go up with Trump. You voted in hopes that the prices of goods would go down. They're going to go up now. Unbelievable. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has warned, offering a general view widely shared by other economics on both sides of the political aisle. A consistent theoretical and empirical finding in economics is that domestic consumer and domestic firms bear the burden of a tariff, not the foreign country. The nonpartisan budget lab at Yale University stated in an analysis published in mid-October. Trump has repeatedly contended that foreign companies would foot the bill, telling a gathering last month at the Economic Club of Chicago that the countries will pay the tariffs. In reality, American importers pay the tariffs to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency when their goods cross the border. These policy steps would amount to regressive tax cuts, only partially paid for by regressive tax increases. And cost of typical middle income household, it'll cost them about $1,700 in increased taxes a year, according to economists at the Peterson Institution for International Economics. The proposed tariffs would shift tax burdens from the well-off to the lower-income Americans, the nonprofit also stated in a policy brief published in August. So all those benefits that he's claiming that we're going to get from these tariffs, it's not happening. Tips are: tell your viewers to buy their new computers now, because you're not gonna in the next 4 years. If he does push the tariffs, your shiny new computer. If you're looking at getting a new computer, you might want to look at getting it a lot sooner, because once he imposes those tariffs, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more. For now, it is unclear when the new Trump regime could seek to stiffen tariffs. The process to complete legislation required to raise the levies could take nearly a year, so any adverse impact might not be felt until 2016, according to Oxford Economics. Harvard University professor and former U.S. Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers questioned the wisdom of taxing imports, noting the potential impact on prices. For parents, we're coming up on the holiday season, and most of our toys are imported from China, Summers tweeted on Thanksgiving Day. Trump has argued that the tariffs compel American companies to make goods on U.S. soil rather than purchasing from foreign suppliers.
Hey, thanks for the sub, you fucking simp.
Thank you for the sub. I do appreciate it.
88 became a subscriber. Hello, everyone in the chat.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much for that sub. I do appreciate it. Sorry, my throat got a little bit dry there. Let me wet my whistle real quick. Sorry about that. But this is what I'm talking about, though. Like, it doesn't just affect, like, you know, he's claiming that he wants to do the tariffs to take the tax burden off of the Americans. Okay, so let's say hypothetically it works the way he claims it's going to work. Oh, it'll encourage American companies to make their goods on U.S. soil. Well, then how are you going to, you know, this plan of making all this money, you know, in place of taxing Americans more, that you plan to get through tariffs? Where's that money come from then? You know, if the goal, like, let's say, hypothetically speaking, it actually works and it gets more American companies to produce more goods in our country, like, how are you going to get that money that you plan to get from the tariffs then? But not only that, but just because a company might manufacture goods in the United States, it doesn't mean they don't still need supplies as part of their manufacturing process that might be imported into this country. So it could still even potentially impact them then. Not only are the goods going to cost more because they're manufactured here, but they're also going to cost more because the resources they need to manufacture their goods are being tariffed to hell and back. So it doesn't work. It literally just doesn't work. But some companies have other plans. If we get tariffs, we will pass those tariff costs back to the consumer. Philip Daniel, CEO of vehicle part supplier AutoZone, told Wall Street analysts in an earnings call in late September. will generally raise prices ahead of, we know what tariffs will be. We generally raise prices ahead of that. So a lot of these companies, already in anticipation for the tariffs, are already raising their prices. Most suppliers to AutoZone include companies based in China, India, Germany, according to the company. Stanley Black & Decker CEO Donald Allen Jr. said last week his tool-producing company has been planning for the possibility of additional tariffs on imports since the spring. Obviously, coming out of the gate, there would be price increases associated with tariffs that we would put into the market. Allen downplayed the idea of moving manufacturing back to the U.S., saying it would not be cost-effective. The company's options could include moving production and aspects of the supply chain to different parts of the world, including from China to other parts of Asia and possibly Mexico, the executive said. So even the thing he claims is going to happen as a result of these tariffs, it'll encourage American companies to bring manufacturing back to America. These are like people who are executives at these companies saying, no, if anything, we're probably going to outsource even more. So it does, no matter how you slice it up, his plan for these tariffs does not work. Such a shift has already been made by Shelton, Connecticut-based Acme United, which now has its Westcott brand products like rulers made in Thailand and the Philippines, avoiding the tariffs targeting China, CEO Walter Johnson said in October earnings call. Acme also switched production of certain medical products to India, Egypt, and U.S. plants in Florida, North Carolina, and Washington State, the executive said. The businesses have also stocked up, placing bigger than usual import orders ahead of new tariffs taking hold, as the U.S. imported 11% more Chinese products than in July and August than they did during the same 2-month period a year ago, according to the Consensus Bureau. By the way, CBS News, fix your fucking website. You guys see how ridiculous like these jumping ads are? Like the menu bar is supposed to be at the top of the page, and it's like, what the fuck? Fix your fucking website. Anyway, that pretty much goes over it in any case. There's one more thing I want to show to you guys from the Occupy Democrats Instagram page. And I don't know if this story has been vetted, but I wanted to show you guys it anyways. Just take it with a grain of salt because it might not have been vetted. But I want to show you guys this because it looks like some, Trump voters are already starting to see the ramifications of their decision. Results have already started. This is from an American woman today. My husband works for a small manufacturing company, and here in southwestern Pennsylvania, that means mostly employees are Trump voters. When the president of the company sat them down today to tell them their annual Christmas bonus would not come this year because they now need to purchase at least a year's worth of products prior to January 21st due to the proposed tariffs, they did not understand. My husband said that their president had to explain what a tariff is and how it will directly hurt their company. They all thought the foreign company paid the tariff. This is the level of ignorance voting against their own interests in Pennsylvania, how they were failed, where we failed American women and children last night. They're starting to see the impact of this already because of stuff like this. This is the outcome of this election, and it's only going to get worse. It's really crazy to see. This is what I was talking about, how the average American doesn't understand this stuff. So if Donald Trump packages it in a way that sounds good to them, they vote for it. And now they're going to see the negative impacts of it, and they're going to start to regret it. It's just it's too little too late. If you think it's bad now, if he actually goes forward with these tariffs, it's only going to get worse. It's going to be a really hard 4 years for the working class. Unbelievable.